Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping.
Yes, yes, it is that time. Fat bastard wannabe Buddha coming at you, just as us witnessed the death of my childhood. Oh, it was a beautiful, glorious thing to behold, too. Obviously, I'm talking about Batman versus Superman, or The Wet Dream of Frank Miller. And you want to get the bad out with it? It's truthfully, I went into the theater expecting I spit on your grave, and it wasn't I spit on your grave. It was a second tier launch of a large franchise tie-in movie with sodas and Burger King or whatever it is they got the hell marketed. It's a fleet ship, and that's what we got with the machine, and that's what I should have expected. But everybody told me that this was the epitome of the worst movie ever made. And being a fan of the worst movie ever made, and being somebody that desperately, desperately wants to hate on Frank Miller, because I think Dark Knight Return is overrated 1,000-fold, and I think the man was a better penciler than an actual writer. But I liked Hardboiled, and that's about the only thing I can think of that I liked still, looking at back at his work. But is this movie this bad? No. It's not as bad as the critics make it out. But by the same token, Avengers wasn't that good of a film, folks. Y'all been kind. I hate to tell y'all this. Go watch the Avengers. That's a bad, bad, bad movie. It makes no sense. The only difference is there's color, and it doesn't take itself so seriously. And that's the main detriment to The Dark Knight, Batman versus Superman. The major problem with it is it's over pretentious. It takes itself way too serious. It wants itself to be the adult version of superheroes in comic books. Repeat that statement over and over. The adult version of guys in capes. That's right, folks. They're chasing the dream of Alan Moore. Alan Moore burned comics for the 80s and the 90s, in which I came of age with, Marvel Man or Miracle Man in the U.S. After Miracle Man and Marvel Man, Frank Miller said, God, this postmodernism comics, let's just make them real. Just said it, what if these things really were real, and let's sit it in there. And next thing you know, you got Batman as a crypto-fascist. I will give Warner Brothers credit. Or actually, I should give Dennis O'Neil credit for actually reining in Frank Miller back in the 80s. Batman didn't brand people during The Dark Knight Returns, but it was pretty bad if you ever watched that film. And actually, not film, sorry, comic book. Ooh, I get the two genres mixed up. Drugs will do that to you, folks. Lots and lots of drugs will do that to you. So, what did I think of it? Well, I didn't hate it, didn't like it, wouldn't watch it again. I think it's an adequate job of getting the franchise started. Yes, I have stuff that ticked me off. I'm a fanboy, and I was grumpy that it was Excalibur showing when they whacked Martha and Martha Wayne. It wasn't Excalibur. Yes, we know it's the future king coming to no. It was the Marker Zorro. If you're going to shoot that scene for the 10,000th time and show the pearls cascade down, well, get the film, right? It's the Marker Zorro. It ain't Excalibur. That annoyed me. It really, really, really bothered me. It set the whole tone. It was a bad taste afterwards. Couldn't take it serious. But is it bad? Yep. It's bad. Is Batman okay in this? Batman's tolerable. If the story arc they're looking to do for the Ben Affleck version of Batman is because the evils of 9/11, the great pure American, became more and more aggressive and dark thing, but in its heart, the true pure America still exists somewhere, and they don't need to resort to terrorist and branding. And you're going to have that arc after, the die of the Messiah, and he's going to become a more humane version of Batman, or more good guy version of Batman. Yeah, I can see their version of Batman, Ben Affleck's version of Batman, is what they're trying to do. I think that's what they're trying to do. That because the evil Zod attack, which is 9/11, this horrific thing happened, the country lost its mind for a little bit. Bruce Wayne lost its mind for a little bit and started doing things it shouldn't have been doing in the first things, like waterboarding and, preemptive war. Oh, sorry, that's, that's us. That's not, we haven't learned that lesson yet. But Batman's going to learn that lesson after, you kill, a god. So they took that. Maybe we come to our senses down the road. But I think Affleck is actually, me personally, just on physical looks alone and voice and tone, just a look, I prefer Affleck's version of Batman to Christian Bale's version. I never got the screaming. I never got that. It sounded like he was a bad singer for some, Norwegian black metal band. It was just, I never liked Christian Bale's version. And, the look of some things work, but the actor himself, I never bought as Batman. But I give Ben Affleck props. He made the best of a really, really bad situation. As far as Superman, please, just get rid of the desaturated color. Just do that. That's all you have to do. Just get rid of the desaturated color. You can have this dark desaturated thing, but every once in a while, shock the audience by showing bright, vivid colors. It would make it a lot more tolerable. I was really, really super happy with Wonder Woman. I know that will come as an actual shock. I was really pleasantly surprised by Wonder Woman. That actually works. As far as all the Easter eggs, it didn't bother me how they introduced it. I think the end credit things has been overdone to begin with, and throwing it and dropping it into the movie through a file of our YouTube videos, or however you want to frame it, of, Cyborg, The Flash, and Aquaman. I think that's valid. I think it's interesting that Cyborg is a mother box thing. Aquaman actually looks interesting visually. It looks appealing. If only they can get rid of the desaturated colors, just a little color, just a tad bit of color would be a lot better for us. I actually will go see the Wonder Woman movie if they can do something decent with that character. Also, it didn't bother me that they don't introduce the backstories of, Wonder Woman. Why should you? The thing that ticked me off is Batman's origin story at the beginning of the movie. You don't need to tell Batman's origin story. Truthfully, you don't. Batman works without an origin story. Yep, he does. Something really bad happened to the guy that set him off his rocker and make him dress up as a bat. You don't need to know Ahab's backstory. I wish creators and studios and companies would learn that telling Wolverine's origin is a mistake. You don't need origin stories for every character. They just exist. Ahab exists. Melville don't tell you about his wife and her lovely kid and how he died, or all the any backstory. You don't need that crap. You know that Ahab is in a battle against God. Okay, you don't need the backstory. You don't need all that exposition that they do. The darker version of everything, for the record, Jimmy Olsen getting whacked as a CIA agent didn't bother me. It really, really didn't. And it is actually a play on what his modern society is. A lot of the journalists are basically paid agents for the CIA. That's how they get into other countries to begin with. So, Jimmy Olsen being that and ended up dead, I don't really regret missing the character, but I wasn't that attached to it. And it makes a greater overall point. Now, Lex Luthor is an atrocious monster that's just a disaster. I have no idea what that was. I have no idea why that was not Bizarro, but instead was Doomsday. That makes no sense to me. Why that wasn't Bizarro? That isn't how Doomsday is created, but that is sort of how Bizarro is created. Need to increase some of the scenes. We all seen the deleted scenes. It sort of explains that maybe Lex Luthor had a little bit more knowledge about Apocalypse coming. And yes, Apocalypse is coming. That's what they are setting up for. I didn't mind the last scene in the cell with Batman and the Lex Luthor, an obvious homage to Alan Moore and version of the Killing Joke. You know, with the monster. There's so many. That's one of the problems I think with the overall movie itself. Besides, number one, the biggest problem with it is it's a flagship movie, and they have to cram so much stuff into it to get this thing off the ground so that they can actually get it running. And that's why it sucks so bad, folks. Don't think it's anything other more complicated than that. That's one of the major reasons that it sucks so bad. It's just too much money is dependent upon this thing getting up and off the ground. It's the spruce goose, folks. You know, and so it ain't an atrocity, but it ain't meant to fly. It's just to get you to buy into the universe itself. I really hated the last 40 minutes of the movie. I just get rid of it. There's so much of this thing that could have been gotten rid of. The fight with Bruce and Kent, just get rid of that. Sorry. You know, I know we all are little fanboys and we all grew up with The Dark Knight Returns. We even got the stupid, you know, Superman heals himself or is reborn via the sun. Thank you, Frank Miller. Yay, boy. We've seen that done 1,000 times in a comic book. And we got all the great scenes. But this was the Authority. If I'm being honest with you folks, if you just made Superman Apollo and Batman Midnighter, you know, and made Wonder Woman Jenny Sparks, you know, trust me, this would have been a great movie. This is what the Authority was, and where comics ended up after, you know, the 80s and the glut in the 90s. This movie is 20 years too old. That's its biggest failing. This movie should have came out in 94, 96. It's 20 years dated. That's the main problem with it. And do I hate it? Nope. Will I watch it again? Nope. Is it worth your bucks? Yeah, if you're a comic book fan, you have to see it. You know, I've sat through worse. But I didn't openly despise it, and actually, it is fixable in the next films if they lower it down just a hair. If it doesn't have to be a billion-dollar franchise, if it didn't have that much riding on it, it could allow itself a little bit more time and a little bit more artistic freedom to actually produce something that's enjoyable to watch. So it isn't the worst. But y'all folks are way oversold comic book movies. Go back and watch them. Come on, just do it. You know, get you some good quality alcohol, weed, and rent. You know, on the Avengers and sit through it. Not as a fanboy, but an actual person. And tell me, is it good? Is it really good? We like it, but it ain't that good. This is sort of in that genre, and that's going to be sacrilegious for most folks. It's basically a flagship. They got it up and off the ground. Nobody died. Well, Batman killed a lot of people and branded people for some strange reason. It's still weird, you know. But anyway, that's a quick thoughts of it. Fat bastard, wannabe Buddha. Good day. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Good day, folks.